Yeah.
Oh, where's your snip snip? They're inside.
Wow.
Yeah,
Snip,
hold
snip,
on,
what are you
I'll be
trying
right
to say?
Are you recording already?
Yeah, we're recording already. Of course I'm going to record me shooting air at you and having you jump. That's going to be on the next freaking promo.
Yeah.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
Are you feeling good today?
I am.
Are you feeling calm?
Why?
Why?
I think you got. I got the feeling that you were a little upset over the coffee situation. You're a little sensitive.
No,
So a little bit.
Okay, what
When
I
you
got
fired back, I was like, you know
frustrated.
what? Holy shit! Where does she draw the line on being
I don't even
sensitive?
have my
You live with
ear.
Kevin Shahan. How come you
yeah,
busting your balls? I'm busting
Well,
your
the
balls a
problem
little bit
is
about coffee. How?
I probably made her mad.
No,
Did
I
you
was
have
at
a lot
work.
of wine already, or like you were
No.
really ultra sensitive?
What are you smoking tonight? I gotta get my new cutter.
He wants me to answer. That's fine. It's cool.
Hold on.
Are you trying to top my
Oh my
circular?
God.
Are you trying
That
to top
is-
me? Are you trying to top me, Kerr?
No, because I got my clothing on.
Yeah.
I love that.
Are you
Cut
are you
it
going?
too.
Oh, you did.
Is there a grand opening somewhere that we should know about?
Oh my
I
God,
mean,
that was
are
awesome.
you going to put a ribbon across the garage and then
The
dedicate
bedroom. The bedroom.
Yeah, the Stogie Road Studios.
That's, you know what? That's the reason why we're not selling them. We're gonna have a grand opening one of these days.
Yeah.
We do have
what?
to keep those. We have a whole box. We're having a yard sale.
Stupid shit.
Coming up in a few weeks. We literally have a whole box of props and cosplay from the kids from just over the years of just stupid shit that we have bought. Those scissors were part of Joe's costume when he had.
I don't know what the hell.
I think he had the chicken head. Was he a
He,
chicken?
he wore chicken head and he had these scissors.
Something
Getting
to
rid
do
of
with.
all your props. You're getting rid of the sex swing too.
Yeah, I can't fit in it anymore.
yeah.
So Jess was
Keeping this-
explaining to her sensitivity. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Jess.
What happened that night?
Okay, I have been working a lot, so when you guys message back and forth, I missed some stuff. So I had seen that you guys had tried some coffees that you weren't, really digging, and and I get that. So I don't know. I just happened he
you?
was sending you guys something, and I said, oh, let me send them some of my Ezra Zion coffee from my Coffee of the Month Club stuff that I'm part of, and see if they like that. And that was it. And it wasn't really me trying to be sensitive. I'm at work. I'm trying to answer, and then I'm like, I'm
You gotta go to the
frustrated.
bathroom. You gotta go to the bathroom to respond.
I have to go into the handicap stall at work to get reception, to check my messages. I'm like,
What?
all right. And then it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, I should have sent you the espresso one that they sent. And so I was like, I said it, and then I didn't realize
I'm sending no more coffee.
that.
It
And then
really
I was
wasn't
like,
bad. It was
good.
It was
No.
okay. I didn't hate it. I have to say the beans, looking at them, were nice and dark, had a great sheen, an awesome smell to it. When I ground it, I don't know if you saw it, that's where I knew it was going to be a lighter flavor because there was more of a chocolate color to it and the smell from it.
I thought it was good coffee.
It was okay. I didn't hate it. There were
So, and
ones
that
recently
was-
absolutely hated.
No, and that was the only reason why I sent it was because I'm like, oh, let them try like this and see, because he actually has a ton of different coffees.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send you some of that espresso one because that is dark.
And we will like it.
Well, I don't care if you like it. I just felt bad because I kept reading that you were trying all these coffees, and Kevin introduced you to like
They
one
were
of them, and I was
horrible.
like, of course.
$83 worth of suggestions on Kevin's end, and all of
Yes.
them sucked.
So I
Yes,
wanted
a
to
lot
try
of
to
money spent
redeem
recently.
some of the coffee.
I mean, I sent you
issues.
that whole container.
Oh, big deal.
Well, here's
But I don't like that
here's
one.
the deal
Yeah,
about
I already
that.
told you in advance that I wasn't a fan.
I
I
like
know, but
it.
I had to get rid of it. I already paid for it.
I
So
was gonna
see, so
say,
we got
I
sloppy
realize
seconds
that.
again
I know.
of your coffee.
No.
No.
I got
That was great.
Amazon only let me. I had to buy 3 cans, so I sent you a full can. I've got the open can, and then I think I'm going to give the other can to my neighbor.
Give it away or something. You know what's funny is
Have it on your
I
next
joked
show.
around when I got the box and I took a picture. I'm like, what coffee? So Jess is like, Kevin didn't put the coffee in the box. What's in the box? Just tell me what's in the box. Step away from that box. Don't open it. the man wants you to find out. He wants you to be the seventh deadly sin. You know, that whole movie. Like, and she's calling me going, what's going on? I'm like,
because I'm at work and I was actually busy and I couldn't figure out, like, was there really any, I didn't think any coffee was sent. And then I missed a couple probably streams of what was said. Like, when we do get busy, we miss what's being
begged she begged for your unborn child to get away from the box. And I'm like, I was just joking around, guys. I was just joking around. That's it. I've had the Café du Monde. I like it. I like the chicory. We actually I got a can of it when the only time I was in Louisiana. In New Orleans, I got a can. I gave it to her dad and stepmom, and then like a year later, they're like, "Hey, we have some coffee for you." I'm like,
they
regifter.
Oh, that's
no,
funny.
they regift. Yeah. They never even opened it.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
You know, I like that coffee. I had it when I was in New Orleans, but I had it with a beignet, and I was dipping my powdered sugar stuff in it, and it was good. But I don't know that I could drink it.
I thought it would be good as a cold brew because of the chicory. And it was like after, Kerr, like cold brew takes 24 hours to brew. Mm-hmm. That was done brewing in 15 minutes and it looked like tar.
I can imagine. I mean, I'll tell you, man, it's when it comes to coffee, and then I'll make the statement and then we could go into our intro. And Jennifer admits to this, I'm a little bit more open to accepting of other coffees. I can appreciate them.
I can appreciate them if they're good.
But and that's your cue, Kevin.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Kerr.
I'm Jen.
And we are
the Broadleaf
Bullies. You are fast again.
No, I was.
We talk. You listen. We're the Broadleaf Bullies. And here's your hosts, Kev, Kerr, Jessie, and Jen.
And we're back.
Man. And we're back.
And we're back.
But you know what? I look
Carrie
at coffee
is more open
because I also think there's some times when you add your coffees and you develop your coffees, it doesn't translate well when you use the same like volume of coffee as you do for your Starbucks.
Yeah.
So she's like heavy-handed. It's like
I do heaping scoops.
Takes 12 scoops, 12 heaping scoops. One for the pot, one for Jennifer, one. Oh, I lost count. 13, 15. And then I get like mud, and she's like, "This is perfect." Like I used to like a cup of milk just to kind of make it drinkable. But there are like a lot of really good coffees that, and I always call them, and it's a compliment, a really good diner cup of coffee. Like if I went into a diner,
I agree,
and you get a really good cup of coffee, it's awesome. I like Krispy Kreme coffee. I think Krispy Kreme's got great coffee, and I also like the dark roast that they serve at Waffle House. Now that to me is really good diner coffee.
It's too watery.
I thought that Ezra Zion coffee you sent was a fantastic diner coffee. Like
I
that
thought it was good.
Incredible. It's something you don't need any. Like for me, I drink coffee black, except when she makes it, I put a dash of milk in it. But that was something I could drink without any milk, nothing. No,
right.
I mean, perfect.
Yes,
I would be curious on the espresso.
Yeah, so far all his coffees that I've gotten all have like a different little bit of uniqueness to it. That one I felt like had like no like major chocolate notes like the other one the first one I got, it's like a Christmas blend, had like a chocolatey note, but that espresso that was dark, and I had to add a little bit of sugar to mine.
And I think Kerr might be a little bit more open to coffees just because of his cigar lifestyle. I mean, you're smoking, you're always on the hunt for the different cigars. So it's the same thing with, I'm sure it's the same thing with coffees, and then the same thing with the Scotch and bourbon and whiskey guys, always on the hunt. Even though they may have their favorite, it's always that hunt for that.
I travel a lot.
Oh, yeah,
So what I did was when I used to travel a lot for work, I would get different coffees to bring home. And it was like, Jess, if you think like that little moment where you were denied, I was like, hey, honey, I brought you this. It sucks. Hey, I brought you this. It sucks. Hey, I brought you. Every time I'd bring something home, it sucked. And some of the coffee had some, what was that one Frankenstein.
Cranky's Coffee. I have
Cranky's
the sweatshirt
Coffee.
And t-shirt. Love the logo.
Love
everything's
everything's cool. She didn't like the coffee.
No. And that has to say, one of the new ones that I got recently, and Kevin, you know the packaging that I'm talking about, I still haven't tried it because I ground it and I can see what it looks like, and I so don't want to be disappointed by it because the packaging is just so fantastic. I love the logo. I love their merchandise, but I know once I try it, it's not going to be good. It's
see what Kerr's got to do, and I don't want to say it because I'll ruin it.
Yeah, just keep it to yourself.
So Kerr's got to find some just any coffee, and then put the Starbucks beans into it, and then hey Jen, I got this.
Listen, Jen will know the difference.
She will.
I know she will. And you know what?
That'd be like just putting different rum in your Bacardi.
Yeah, I'd know. You're goddamn right.
Yeah, but I mean, I wasn't upset if you liked it or didn't like it. I was upset because I felt bad that you had so much crappy coffee, and I was hoping, I was like, maybe this will be the one.
Thank you, Jess.
I'm taking my bag of coffee and going home.
I should have sent you the espresso, and that's why I was frustrated with myself.
No. The stuff you sent was really, I like it.
Yeah. No, that's great.
I'm
going to send you the espresso, though, because I think Jen would actually like that one.
Yeah.
No, it was really good. The hopping goat.
Yeah.
That I didn't like it. I thought it was.
I'll tell you that this was the first time.
Terrible.
We've had it multiple times. I threw out.
I want to know why I can't drink hers anymore. It's because Tony Costa makes me a special blend that's similar to that.
Yeah.
But not that. Whatever you guys got. I don't know.
He gets the green beans
but
and he does the roasting at home.
He roasts them himself.
I can tell you why I can't drink this coffee. It was terrible. But I honestly think that there is something effed up with the seal because it was not perfectly sealed. When I got it and I unfolded it, it had like one little itty bitty, like it was like this little connector, and it just popped. But I could see the beans in the crevices.
Yeah,
and it took forever to get to us. So
that was a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah, it was the only time, because that hands down hopping goat is my favorite cold brew, and it was horrible.
Yeah,
I couldn't finish it. I dumped out I make a giant mason jar. I just dumped it out. I couldn't finish it.
I tossed it. I just couldn't.
Even when I opened it and I looked at it and I smelled it, I was like, man, this is either a bad batch or they didn't seal it properly and it got all effed up along the way. It was a
combination.
See, now the coffee I get from Tony is definitely a lighter brew. It's not a bold brew at all. But he roasts his, and it has just, and like I got a second one from him that has a little hint of cinnamon in it. Oh my god!
Yeah, he was using like a popcorn, an air fryer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think he eventually said he bought another, like a real.
Yeah. But he sent me.
Yeah, you can get a home roaster.
Yeah, air roasters are great.
He really has expanded like some of how he's doing it and stuff. And so the last time I got some from him, I was able to choose like a a different kind of if I wanted a flavor or anything. Mm-hmm. But I like his. His is very smooth.
They use the air when you go to Lowe's grocery store. They actually have all the green beans there, and then they can roast it. And I've done it there before. They use the air roaster.
Oh, okay.
And she roasted it to the espresso, and then I was like, keep going, keep going. And it actually turned out pretty good. But when it comes to coffee, Jennifer didn't realize this until we tested it one time, and then I was like, we'll never test this again. She didn't realize that the lighter roasts have more caffeine.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And the darker roast, the more you let it roast, the more that sweats out everything and less caffeine. So I think you drank a cup of blonde roast.
Yeah, it tasted horrible, but the caffeine.
And she's like, okay. So she drank it, and it was just like, hey, Carrie, how you doing? It's Jennifer. You know what? You're really right about this. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize this. Like, completely like, I don't know if I like this. My heart's, I don't know if I like this feeling. And I was like, I'm telling you, it has more caffeine in it. Because every once in a while, I'll get a Pike's Place from Starbucks, really good, or the blonde roast. Mm-hmm. And if you get that, it's packed with caffeine.
Yeah, it's the same when you're doing a cold brew. A cold brew has twice the caffeine as when you versus when you brew it hot.
What was
Really?
it that one? What what did you do? The Tim Long's coffee, and you were
Yeah.
like bouncing off the walls.
It made my heart hurt as a cold brew. It was rough. I had like a drink like this took me like 10 hours to drink it. It was
You
like
should have
sip.
stopped drinking it though, because
did.
you were crazy.
Yeah.
I can't drink. Jen does that. She'll have her latte and it'll last her all day, and I'm like, once my coffee gets cold,
Yep.
it goes in
Done.
the sink.
No,
Well,
I can keep
mine's
drinking
on
it.
ice. It's a
Oh
cold
yeah,
brew.
yeah. Good
Yeah.
point, Kevin. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yours is a cold brew.
Yeah.
and
Once
then
your
it
coffee
becomes
goes
room
warm,
temperature.
yeah. Once my coffee goes warm,
When it
it's
becomes
done.
room temperature.
No, it's always. That's why I have insulated mugs.
Oh, well, that's different.
Yeah.
We're talking about in a mug, like real coffee drinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just
Yeah.
drink it all day.
I tried to
don't
relate
care.
with Kevin and completely failed epically because I keep forgetting he's a cold brew guy.
Cold
Oh,
brew,
my-
you
Yeah.
can't.
But we used to working on the construction sites. The roach coach lady, she'd come down. She'd always find our job site at the end of the day because the guy I worked with, he wanted all the leftovers, like the half inch of all the pots, and she'd give them to him free. And he'd have like this big thermos,
Ugh.
and she'd dump them all of them in there. And
why?
he would just sip on. He loved it. And it'd be like from like 3 o'clock in the afternoon until we closed.
like-
Yeah.
The
Burnt-
burn bottom.
the burnt
oh my
freaking
God.
Maybe-
syrupy.
He
What is
loved
that?
it.
What is that? Illness that people get? What is it called? Pica or something? Where they like drink gasoline or eat cigarette
I
butts or
I don't
something.
know.
Yeah, it was definitely oil that he drank at the end of every day.
he must had like some weird.
yeah,
yeah.
it's called cheapness. You don't want to
Yeah.
pay for coffee.
Well, that like I said, it'd be in Florida. It'd be 100 degrees outside. Everybody'd be sweating. He'd be sipping on his hot coffee. You know, I don't know how
I'm the
he
same
did it.
way.
I mean, I'll
I
still drink hot coffee.
Oh,
Oh
same
yeah,
here.
it keeps you cooler.
Bullshit.
I love
It
hot
also
coffee.
melts your food after you eat.
Kevin just,
Yeah,
it does.
Kevin just doesn't like hot coffee, so
I don't like
He's
hot
never-
drinks.
yeah, you're not a. He doesn't
Yeah.
even really like soup.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, I'm a
Oh,
soup guy.
we love soups.
I'm like,
I
I
do.
love soup. I could live on soup.
I could tell when I make
Yeah.
like soup stuff. He's like,
No, I like chunky. I like she'll do like a
that's
chicken.
not soup.
Yeah,
Sirloin
you know,
burger, chunky, is one of my
yeah,
favorites.
yeah. I'm more of a stew.
It's a soup
I like
that
a
could be
stew.
eaten with a fork.
Yeah, I'm a stew type of guy.
I do like making stews as
I
well.
make a
in the
good
fall and
stew,
winter.
though.
We do
Yeah.
soups and stews.
I haven't
Stewie.
made stew in a while.
Hey, what are you guys smoking?
A fat bottom Betty.
Oh,
And I'm smoking
Oh.
the
You don't like those?
the JFR Super Toro by Aganorsa.
nice.
And then as a backup, I got a Herrera Esteli.
Oh, nice.
Earlier I smoked one of my Ezra Zion cigars, the melted ice grim. Instead of cream, it's called Grim, GRM. It's the Grim Reaper ice
Yeah.
cream. It's melted. I just smoked that right before this
How
one.
was
So,
it?
it was good.
I like
was
stuff
good.
that design makes out. I'm smoking the Vince.
Ooh,
The Vin,
Vince.
who's that? Who's that?
That's a new one.
I have to look this up, but this is from the LCA, Limited Cigar Association. I don't know if you've seen, but there's an article about them that they were going towards this goal. Brian Descend from Pravada Cigar Club wanted to create kind of like this mini TAA, and there's an article recently that likened them to the TAA. It's these blends that they create, that they get from, Espinosa's made them, Paul Stulak, Matt Booth. They make these blends, and they're exclusive to the 200 to 300 shops only. We're one of their supporters very early on, and I'm a part of their mailing. So what I've been doing is I get a couple bundles, and I keep a bundle, and I'm just holding on to them.
Yeah.
Because in about a year, when everybody's like talking about, do you remember when the cigar bond came out and it got? Do you remember when? I'm like, yeah, I know, and I have freaking 300, 10 of each or whatever.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the company. I only know about the one, and I don't know if it was Pravada or with the LCA when they got busted for rebranding that like a $4 cigar and selling it for like $12. Was that in Pravada or was that LCA?
Well, I don't know if
I
it was
don't.
Pravada or LCA. I know the LCA got a nasty gram letter about the cigar bond cigar.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
about
they're
that
kinda-
one. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about the rebranding of a $4 stick.
I don't know. Yeah, it came out that it was a $4
Well, you don't remember who
like
it
a
is,
lot.
so why
Well,
bring it up?
well, it's Pravada and LCA. They're tied together.
Oh, okay.
So I couldn't remember which one it was, but and it's been whatever 6 months. I can't remember which one. That's the only thing I know about the company.
Yeah, Pravada does their monthly cigar club, and I, you know what, Brian's a great guy, and I support him. And I'd have to say that most of the cigars I get from his cigar club are really good.
Yeah.
I've had a couple that are, but I mean that's going to happen, right?
Well, I mean that happens in the. I
Right.
have 3 cigar clubs.
And
I
it's
mean,
the same with Stogie Bird with Sam Lucia,
Yeah.
or
You can't-
Lekia. I don't want to
Yeah.
mispronounce the name,
But
but
yeah,
I don't
you're
remember
not
hearing
always
that.
going to get. Yeah, I mean, but the one that you said was blah. Someone else, loved it. So
Oh, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. There's been a couple I didn't get. I didn't get the Cookie Monster, which was a Lancero. And I think a lot of
Oh,
feedback on that.
I didn't realize that's where those came from because I just had a conversation with another cigar smoker that I talked to through Instagram, and he was like, "Hey, do you know how to get any of those Cookie Monsters or those Elmos?" And I was like, "No."
Oh, I didn't know there was an Elmo.
Yeah, there's an Elmo
Yeah.
and a
There was
Cookie
one.
Monster, and I didn't get either one of them. Because
But-
I just.
But
don't
I
want
didn't
fucking
know
Cookie
like
Monster.
what kind of cigar they were, and I said, unfortunately, those things go so fast because they're kitschy,
And how
Yeah.
the hell did not get a cease and desist for those names?
I
you gotta be.
I don't
You
know,
gotta be
man.
sm- you
Same
gotta
thing with
be
the
smart.
clowns, right? Those
You-
Captain Spaulding. I'm like,
You've-
seriously?
I don't. People are just rolling the dice whether these bigger companies are going to come after you or not, and then
Well, I will
you know-
say Ezra Zion and like Nomad Cigars stuff, they're very smart about how they name their
Yeah.
cigars. They're very similar to so it's like a recognizable thing.
Well, yeah, and on the Captain Spaulding though, that was a on what he's on,
Yeah.
that was a clown. That
Yeah.
was a. I mean, there's no
That was a
hiding.
character written
Yeah,
by
even
Rob
if-
Zombie.
Even if you spelled
Yeah.
Spaulding different,
Yeah.
it was
You know,
still,
it's-
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows how they get
Yeah.
away with it?
But if it's a short run and a limited
Yeah.
release, by the time it gets out there and then they get a letter, it's already out there. So really, what can be
so
done?
can I?
Yeah.
But how does one go? So that's through the Pravada Cigar Club is to get those type of cigars.
You have to. I think they may sell them on their website, but I know they're exclusive to certain shops.
So
So,
certain shops
you
are
can
LCA
you can go
members.
on the Pravada Cigar website, go to
Okay.
LCA,
Only because I'll pass that information on to him in case something like that he's
And if there's-
interested.
and anything with the LCA, you can always have them contact me.
Like we're an
Yeah.
LCA business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll
yeah.
do that because he was curious. He was like, I always feel like I miss out on some of the, and I wasn't sure how you even go about getting those because I didn't realize that was kind of like a small run type thing. I was
Yeah.
like, because I couldn't find any information on
Yeah.
it.
Now,
at
how
all.
Some are
often-
exclusive. Some
How often are you getting those, Carol? Like the LCA,
Monthly.
is that a monthly?
Yeah,
Is it a
monthly,
monthly
yeah.
thing?
Excuse me. They're monthly, and how was I gonna say now? I forget. I digress. Or my brain digresses. Yeah, I could either get them in contact with their local, like the closest LCA shop.
Yeah, they're in New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, or because I've gotten a couple shops here connected in Pennsylvania with the LCA, but then I gave him a number of contacts in Jersey and Pennsylvania. So
Okay.
I could definitely let you know, but
Well, I'll just give him a little information you gave me and tell him if he's interested in
Sure.
knowing more to contact
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
yeah,
'Cause,
it'll help out
you
if
know,
we can. I mean,
Yeah, because I didn't really know how to answer that, and it's a good question because, I see cigars too, and I'm like, how the hell do you get a hold of some of these cigars? And I try to Google and look up stuff, and then you can't find like any information. You just find people smoking them, and it's like, well, how did you get
Super
those?
secret.
yeah, it's super
Yeah.
secret, but we,
Yeah.
I mean, and they go fast. I mean,
Yeah.
they go
Yeah.
really fast. I know some of the shops that carry them, and they get them in. Sometimes they're gone in a day. Some shops.
It's the same with like the Ezra Zion stuff,
Well, the Ezra Zion, and
Yeah.
here's the other thing too. It's, I like Ezra Zion, and partially because it is kind of cool and trendy. You know, I like that kind of the bands and stuff. But their cigars are legitly pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't had a bad cigar from them yet.
What's your favorite so
No,
far?
I've had some Ezra Zion, and I've always enjoyed their cigars.
Yeah, so far, actually, believe it or not, the Red Army Man has been my favorite, and I
They
had
have different color army men, correct?
Yes, and they're really hard to get. And mind you, I didn't really know anything about them, and then I found the Green Army Men when Graham went into the army, and I was like, oh, I'm going to buy a pack. So I bought a pack, and then I realized I just went down a rabbit hole that I can never get away from now because they're so hard to find. And then I saw Lucille, which I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, and I was like, I can never find this cigar, and
It's
I want it
tough.
so bad. So I started like hunting some of the cigars and found a few, traded a few, and then Kevin got me the coffee in the cigar club of the month for Christmas. And I've gotten a few that I normally couldn't get. And then every time I get an alert, I have bought more than I should. Let's just put it that way.
I've had a
I
few
should
of the
not.
Lucille's. They were
I
good.
just keep buying. Every time there's a new one out, I'm like, boo, or like, a
Now,
re-release.
do you drink their wine as well? Because I know
I
they have a
did.
wine
All right.
club.
So I got Permanent Vacation wine.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, that kicked my ass a little bit. It's a
high
strong
alcohol content.
It's a strong red wine. Like, it was. I'm not a huge red wine drinker, but this one had some levels of flavor that I wasn't like expecting, but it was rich, and I think I was like, okay, I can't drink this the way I drink my other wine.
Yeah, gulping it is what she means.
You gotta sip
yeah.
it.
So
She
gotta
means with
sip
the
this
straw.
wine.
You
so
know?
far,
Yeah.
I've only had the one. I've only had the one wine, and it was good. So I wasn't disappointed. But the Green Army Men was really cool. I got a pack of those, and I, smoked one with Graham. Then the Blue Army Men came out, and I got those. So I have some of those. But then the red one I happened to find in the humidor. I don't know who gave it to us, and this is before my Ezra Zion like obsession, and I smoked it like an asshole.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest one.
Yeah, like
to
an
find.
asshole. I smoked a cigar that was in the humidor.
No.
You know? Yeah.
How
Like,
dare
I
you,
didn't-
Jess?
What I didn't realize, like, I wish now I kind of would have saved it, because I would have liked to smoked the red one, the green one, and the blue one, kind of.
You
in
weren't
like a
color
sequence.
coordinated
Like
at
a
that time.
series.
See, I love this conversation because you always get on me. It's like Kevin's
Well,
always saving cigars.
No,
always saving.
but you
Doesn't want to smoke them, but then I'll get.
Well, because I just said why I wanted to smoke it.
Yeah.
I wanted to compare it kind of to those. I would have smoked
You're
it.
hoarding it.
No, I already smoked it.
Well,
God, I'm
Kevin
never
has
gonna
the same
use it.
reasons too, just different
Yeah.
rationale
No,
reasons to
his
doing
is
it.
because we'll never be able to get it again. I don't care if I ever get it
Yeah.
again, but I would have liked to have compared it. But I will tell you that that cigar was really good. And then there was the Troublemaker. I really dig that cigar right now. That's a good cigar. It has
Which
like a
is the-
nice finish.
Which is the one that has the brass knuckles on it?
Oh, I have those.
The brass knuckles.
Do you want me to
Is
Is
send
that
you
the
one?
jailbait one?
No, it's called
No,
brass
there's
knuckles.
jailbait that has handcuffs, and brass
Yeah.
knuckles is the one with the
Yeah,
brass
I've
knuckles.
had a couple of the brass knuckles. I had a couple.
Have you had the Maduro one?
I don't know. It's been a while. I remember when I got the Lucille's because we're Walking Dead fans too, and I'm sitting there
I wish you
thinking,
had 'em.
again, I mean, how does one get away with this, right?
Yeah.
Lucille,
Yeah,
especially
it's
that.
barbed wire.
But
How cool is
but
that?
how freaking brilliant marketing! They just take a piece of wire and
Yeah.
wrap it around a cigar and go, Lucille.
Yeah, they
and
have like
people
a
gobble that
hatchet
shit up.
one. I
A
mean, they have a
knife.
bunch. I have the machine gun one.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
haven't smoked that. I only have the one.
I had
I'm-
Ezra Zion. I was in Pennsylvania, so it was probably about a good 4 years ago. I found Ezra Zion. I'd never seen him before in the cigar shop that was built in a barn. So
Oh.
next to it was the little shop, and then the lounge was a barn. And I think it was called the Barn, Cigar Barn, real original. And I got some Ezra Zion, some of their, their standard brand back then. and it had a lot of age on it because you could tell.
And that's like in my Cigar of the
Fantastic.
Month club. I get kind of just some of their house blends and stuff, but one I just got, that Solfaing is yellow. So I'm excited about smoking that one.
I think what they do a lot of times is what Caldwell does with the Lost and Found. Because we'll get an email or get the text alerts from Ezra Zion. We have 250 of these cigars, and that's
Nomad
it.
Cigars,
you know, or no. So I think it's the same way with
Cigar Federation.
Yeah, it's like Caldwell. You know, they find 200 or 300 cigars.
Yeah,
they got some age on them. They've been sitting around. They're going to throw on their piece of barbed wire.
I think that's what Cigar Federation does.
Yeah, I've ordered cigars from Kerr from Cigar Federation, so I get all the emails on there. And I want to say there was one today where it's I can't think of the name, but they have 250 of them.
but that was the first release from LCA. If you remember, their first release was the Death Bucket.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was an LCA cigar.
That was the very first LCA release.
Okay.
And basically, I think that was the first cigar Matt Booth blended and put together, and then was selling it to only exclusive shops, and it kind of went away, and they had a bunch of them left over, and then he brought them in and released them through the LCA.
That's awesome. Hey, have you ever tried this cigar from Cigar Culture?
I want to get that guy on the show.
I want to try their cigar. It's kind of like a New York brand.
Well, it's a cigar group.
It's a cigar group, but they have their own cigar.
Yeah, and I want to say we had the owner that makes the cigars on the show.
I don't know. I just keep seeing them. They're like all over Instagram, and they're like a really cool group of people that are like, but they're cigar. It's called Cigar Culture. And
I want to say
it looks like a really interesting.
I want to say the owner was on the show, and then. But so we'll have to.
Yeah, so
I'll have to go.
And
back
I don't know if it's a boutique type of cigar or what.
Well, it's basically from what I understand, it's a Facebook group, the Cigar Culture.
Okay.
And then it's a big group,
and they
have their own cigars made for them.
It looks fantastic. I don't know. I'm intrigued by it. I kind of want to try one, and just see what that's all about. But because I like the whole concept of cigar culture. Just that's like a cool thing, because it kind of spins off a little bit of like Drew Estate in a sense, as far as like the whole cigar lifestyle. So I like that whole cigar culture thing.
Is that not based out of Charlotte?
I thought they were in New York.
Cigar Culture Live, is that with Goldie?
I don't know. I thought they were based out of New York. I could be wrong. It could be that's where I see most of the posts from.
There's Cigar Culture Live, and the guy Damon Goldie Robinson is the one who kind of does the Cigar Culture Live.
This is what it's called. It's it's hashtag the Cigar Culture.
Oh.
They have a YouTube.
Might be something different, because I know that he has that Cigar Culture Live, and
I'll copy this and send it to you, so you can see what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah, please do, because I'm interested in that. But I do have a question for you, uncigar related. Jessica.
Yes.
I'll ask you because Kevin's already touched on this in previous, so he's going to have a lot to say about this. Do you believe in aliens? Do you believe in aliens now that there's been all these different reportings and sightings and videos?
I do, but did you see the latest from the Navy?
Yeah, I think they sent it to us.
I sent it to you guys.
Did you?
I sent it to you.
See how much stuff gets sent?
Yeah.
I was like, did you see it?
We don't even know where.
I don't know.
Thanks, Jessica. You're welcome.
No, sorry. Thanks,
Don't.
Jen.
She'll get angry. You won't like her when she's angry. It's like the Hulk.
Jessica's wrath.
Jessica's like, oh,
sorry.
You motherfucker, you okay?
I didn't think I came off like an asshole through text. How do you come off like an asshole through text?
It was there.
Jess,
it was there.
I'm just bullying you. You know what? If you really want to understand how you come off as an asshole in text, go back and reread it.
I will now. I honestly, you know what it is too? It's like I feel like I miss out on so much because I'm at work so much, and I've been closing like every single night. Thanks to also Kevin's schedule, taking a 4-day, then taking 2 days at the end of the week. He's supposed to have Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
I'm having surgery.
Now,
I'm sorry.
why did you schedule it for your 4 days?
You ever try and schedule like a certain with a dermatologist a surgery? Yeah, you don't tell them what day.
Okay.
They tell you.
Well, anyway.
And then you,
Excuse me, Jess is really angry. I don't need it Wednesday. I need it Friday. Can we do it Friday instead? Who the hell is Jess?
I have no staff right now. I literally have like 2 cashiers. So I am in the process of trying to do interviews to hire. I think I finally found a shift supervisor that I can hire because my other one stepped down.
We're just teasing you, Jesse.
I know. I'm under a lot of
aliens.
pressure. I mean, I'm being 100% honest. I feel like I'm under a lot of pressure.
I know.
And like Kevin, like
He's not helping.
I rely on the
Kevin.
schedule. No, I rely on the schedule, and Kevin has thrown a couple little monkey wrenches in there, which I'm not.
Surgery,
He should go and have his surgery for his back. I get that. I understand that. I'm not, but he doesn't also communicate all of that stuff. We have a big ass calendar, an erase board calendar. He writes nothing on there. I write everything on there as far as like what he does tell me or what is going on with me, and he'll still text me what time you get off. Look at the big ass calendar in front of you. It says what my hours are.
Technology, use it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I need the routine. I need the consistency of the days for me for work. And like, if I get up at 5 because I got to take Gabby on the bus. That means I'm up from 5 until I get home. And sometimes I don't go to bed till like 11, and I sleep like shit anyway. And then I have to do that every single day. It's a lot.
No, there's been times
I get frustrated.
There's been times that my phone will be ding, ding, ding. I got to turn it off because I'm like in 5,000 conference calls, and I'll get back and I'll realize I missed the whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm catching the tail end of it. I'm like, how did we get
that
here?
day I was excited because I'm like, oh, they got the coffee.
So
like,
aliens?
I'm excited.
Let's go back to aliens. We talked about coffee.
Sorry. So anyway,
Alien coffee.
I do believe that's my answer.
I'm not sure.
I watched a video on a guy who explains what happened with those night vision goggles on that ship and how it was an airplane.
Oh, on that particular video you sent us? Okay.
And it was pretty interesting because he talks about how night vision goggles, take in light. And that in order to be more precision with the light, sometimes they will tape over their night vision goggles and leave a little square because it allows more concentrated light in, which makes the image clearer. So sometimes you'll see binoculars that have tape off with a little square and such. He noticed too that in that video they zoomed in, and night vision goggles and night vision the apparatus they're using does not zoom in. So they must have had a phone or something in the front of it, which they can do. They have mounts for it, and zoom in. And he said that some of the people will use artistically, instead of taping off a square, they'll tape off a triangle. And if you are slightly out of focus, every bit of light will show up as like a fuzzy triangle.
Yeah, but there was more than one.
Well, there was 3.
Yeah.
and he said and I noticed this too. The way it was strobing, he said, had the same strobe cadence as an airplane. And if you have a triangle, like if you have a focus, and that focus dial is in the shape of a triangle, which some focus, lenses do, it will pick up, and the wings are just constant lights, right? And then the backlight is a flashing light. And if you look, there's 2 lights that are constant. There's a flashing light, they're triangles, and it will also even pick up stars around it, which will show up as little triangles as well. He said that's why some are out of focus and fuzzier, but triangles that are not flashing. And then you had the one only flashing that looked closer. And that was his explanation of that.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that there is other beings out there. Like we are not the only beings.
Well, there has to be.
But
yeah.
but
Why
at
does
the end
there
of the
has
day,
to be?
but at the end of the day, I don't necessarily think that any of that stuff necessarily is like accurate, like proof that there's aliens or extraterrestrials or anything like that. I think that a lot of it, like with everything that people film today, we don't have a clear anything. Tells me like that's all just bullshit a little bit. But I wouldn't want to be naive and say that there isn't something else among us. Have we seen it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
I mean,
I think that during the pyramids and all that stuff, like history, maybe at one point they were integrated into our world in that sense, but since have gone and haven't come back to, be part of whatever this is that we're doing now.
I think
I don't know.
They've always been here. They're here. So you look up in the night sky, there's 100 billion galaxies in the night sky with 100 billion stars. So there's trillions upon trillions of planets out there. And we're it. We're it.
Yes.
And all of the cosmos, everything, so random chance, we're it. There's nothing else out there.
It's not random.
Well, then you have to believe one of two things. One is that our planet is the perfect distance from a sun of our size to be
the Goldilocks zone. Yeah,
right, to be able to do, and everything with the developing of the water, everything had to happen in order for us to go from a single-celled organism to freaking Kevin not writing shit on a dry erase board.
Yeah,
right. Seriously. So either that crazy millions of years of developing had to happen, or it was created.
Okay.
And I said
no.
The reason why I say this is because we've seen the development and the evolution, right, of species, and everything's evolved, but we really haven't seen, like, when was the last time someone said, hey, it's how long has that monkey been around? Man, look at it just evolving. Or look at that animal, it's just evolving. So I think that the argument is either we're in this Goldilocks perfect storm, the right freaking meteor hit the earth and caused these little amoebas that eventually grew into multi-cell organisms, which eventually learned to swim and eat, which eventually went on land, grew arms, legs, tails, feathers.
So here's my thing, though. We have dug up and we have found dinosaurs, correct? Right? Like the remains of dinosaurs and fossils and, other things. But when they have taken like footage and rock and stuff from Mars, I mean, they haven't been able to dig. What happens if they were able to dig and find life that used to once upon a time maybe been there?
But we
then
don't
what?
know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Well, you don't know because it's like, they take a picture of a rock. They're like, oh my gosh, look at that.
I know.
It's
sign of life, sign of intelligence.
And I believe in panspermia, where our life originated from an asteroid, a comet, whatever, from another planet. That's what brought life here. And then we were able to thrive.
Do you think it was from an asteroid, or do you think it was intelligent design from another being in another galaxy? Like, do you think
I think,
what's that movie with the prequel to Aliens? Did you ever see that movie? It's
I've never seen Aliens. No,
You never seen Aliens?
no.
Alien. You never seen
It's
Alien?
the prequel to
Jesus.
Yeah, it was. What's his face did it? I can't remember.
Yeah. I know the movie. Yeah.
I know
No,
what you're talking
don't.
about.
He's not talking about Aliens. He's talking about one prior to Aliens.
Oh, not the
The guy who did Aliens. I can't think of his name
Yeah.
right now. Every time we get on a show like this, everything like all
Prometheus.
my Prometheus. So
Oh, I've never
Prometheus.
seen that.
Prometheus has this belief that these intelligent, high evolving beings started life on Earth.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe I believe in panspermia. An asteroid brought the life to Earth, as in these amoebas.
So-
It grew, and then I think at one point there was intervention.
So, but when people like
From
I think
Aliens?
I think
Yes.
people
Fassbender
think
was in
like
it.
because of the way we look, like it would have to be like another humanoid form. But what's
we
that
didn't all
movie?
look like this back in the
Like
day.
movie Contact with Jodie
Yeah.
Foster.
Right. I was going to say there's like a
I love
bunch of
that
different
movie.
things. But there's also that movie that we watched
Terrible
from
I
the
thought it was
book.
great.
What was it called?
I'm okay
Home
to go.
or something,
Okay,
where it's the little, they're like these little pod things that were inserted into people, but their beings are forever
that was
existing.
a Stephanie Meyer book.
Yeah,
I don't
Stephanie
know.
Meyer wrote a book.
Yeah,
It was
she wrote
amazing.
all the
Pop
But that was a really cool concept of basically life. This life is forever sustaining through different hosts. Oh, host. It was called Host.
There you go. Eventually, you
There we
talk
go.
and you get it out because that's the same
I mean,
way.
when you have this, I mean, when you've got even like the Catholic Church coming out just a couple of years ago and saying the proof of aliens does not discount a god, an intelligent design.
True.
You know, I mean, the church has its own observatory, has its own telescopes. I think they're in
Has its own
Arizona.
currency.
You know, but yeah, it has to be. It's everything that's out there.
I mean, I think it would be naive to think that there's not something bigger than ourselves. Like, doesn't necessarily.
Are you talking godly or are you talking
It's
astrally?
spiritually, godly, alien. Just, it would be naive to think that we're the only things that have ever existed.
Yeah, I look at it and I've had this argument with Vic before, the High Desert Man, and good arguments back and forth.
I would say discussion.
Yeah,
necessarily an
yeah,
argument.
discussion. So God created everything. He goes, yes, created all these planets that we can't see. We're never going to get to. It's not possible. He created all of that just so we could look at a star and never go there, never step foot on that planet. He created all of that and then only put life here on our little blue marble.
I don't know. It's
Possibly. I mean, have you ever
like
talked
Horton
to?
it's like Horton Hears a Who.
Yeah.
Maybe there's
Exactly.
life on little little plants.
Have you
a little
had this
flower.
conversation with Brad before?
Yes, Brad believes in aliens.
Does he? Does he believe that they're made by God too?
Yes. He believes everything is made, and he believes in
But
ghosts
maybe,
and spirits. And
like what I'm saying is that they also talk about in the Bible, part of human race has been destroyed and rebuilt, like wiped out. So maybe we're just like
The leftovers.
version point like 50,
That was
you
movie.
know. Point 100 and like 1,000 something.
yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, you look
who
at
knows how many times we've been wiped out and
yeah.
rebuilt
I mean, you look at
or
the
remade.
London hammer that they found, in London, Texas. It's been carbon dated at 100 million years old. This hammer, the wood handle has become or started a petrification, which known to take millions and millions of years embedded in this stone. And science still can't prove how the London hammer
is it possible
exists.
that something happened, temperature, some cosmic thing happened, and it just helped it petrify? Like, could it just be
You think
some
something
perfect,
sped up the process of petrification?
like somehow
I don't
just
think
Yeah,
at that rate, though.
I don't know, because I don't know that you could be 100% right. There could
No,
have been
I'm just
something.
asking, like, how do we know that there's not a possibility of that, happening?
I don't know. Right. We're due out for a report. Is it this year, June or July? To where a lot of scientists don't really believe in aliens, but a lot of people in the CIA, the FBI, they believe. So we're due out for like the report this summer. And it was mandated by Marco Rubio. He was sat on that chair of that they want, they want the information that the government has.
I don't think people really want to know, though.
I
what
think-
are you going to do with that information?
Well,
Nothing
I think
will
it's
just cause more craziness.
But you
than
know
No,
what?
it
I
is.
think it gives us hope.
No,
No,
hope.
It doesn't.
No, I think what it's doing is, first of all, you look at a couple different things, right? I think that they used to cover things up back in the day because they didn't want people to know. Well, we're at the point now where technology is like, listen, you can't fool us now. So it's almost like they've been spoon feeding this information over the last several years, preparing people to accept alien life. Because if it would have just been one of those moments where it's like, 15 years ago, oh yeah, there's alien life, all the doomsdayers, everybody's shitting their pants.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you really have to you don't look at people as individuals. You got to look at them as groups and crowds. And people panic in that. So you got to spoon feed them over a period of time in order to get them prepared for it. But one of the things that I've always been in the UFO since I was a kid. I read millions of books, I watched all the different freaking things on Discovery Channel, movies, whatever. Was back in 2014, 2007, I can't remember, was the incident that happened. There's two incidences that were released, I think, a couple years ago. One of them happened out on the West Coast where they were doing maneuvers and they were following crafts for about a week. And then they sent out a couple of jets to go they were already out there like, go investigate this. We're doing maneuvers. And these things have been hanging around for about a week and we really can't identify them. And he went out and, I'm thinking if you're a, Navy pilot, you have a great reputation and you're describing a tic-tac, shaped object that goes from 40,000, 50,000 feet to above the water in a second, and you're describing this, that holds credibility as far as I'm concerned. Right. When you see the cameras on jets, we have tracking systems, and they're trying to track somebody. Finally track them, and they're showing these these different vehicles traveling the way that they are, and you hear the responses from these pilots. And what's funny is these pilots, none of them are afraid. They all say the same thing. Well, were you afraid? No, I want to fly that thing. Holy shit, the way that thing was performing, I want to fly that thing. I think this Navy thing with the nighttime goggles. When I heard that guy explain that, it made a lot of sense.
And I've heard a lot of these things that people give good explanations, for what it is.
But I also think we have to remember there's companies out there that are making certain things for military or off the grid, like completely hush hush. How do we know what any of that stuff looks like?
The stealth bomber was reported as UFOs back in the day. Before the stealth fighter and the stealth bomber.
Oh, have you ever seen one go over top?
Yeah. Stealth fighters are crazy.
Oh my god, you don't hear it until it's over top of you.
No.
It is like so cool. We had in Alexandria, New Jersey, like in the township, Alexandria Township, they have a balloon festival every year, right by Airport Road. It's a private airport, but like the stealth bombers would come fly over. They do all these cool things. You don't hear it until it's directly over you.
They're pretty intimidating. And
so cool.
I live by
Looks
Dover.
Like a stingray in the sky.
I live by the Dover Air Force Base. And we always had the big carrier jets doing their touch and goes. And then they'd have the air show and you'd see the jets flying overhead. And you heard them, you know what they were. The one day I heard something that sounded completely different. It didn't sound like your normal jet. It had a higher pitched scream to it. It sounded like it had balls.
Like it eats you.
And I looked up, and it wasn't the bomber, it was the fighter. And that thing was one of the most intimidating things I've seen in the sky because it doesn't look like a regular jet. It looks freaking downright menacing. And it's doing maneuvers. And I'm going, holy shit. And like you said, you can't, when you hear it over here, but you're seeing it over here.
Yep.
And it was the one and only time I've ever seen a stealth fighter. And
can you imagine at night?
You can imagine the first time, like when they're testing these things before anybody ever knew about them. Of course they get UFO. So I think some of these sightings are probably from
prototypes
or
things like that.
But I believe in this day and age of not only prototypes, but now you have all sorts of freaking, what are they, flying craft that you control? Drones.
Oh, drones.
All these different drones you can do. I mean, you can make freaking.
Well, the military uses drones. It's almost like warfare now.
Right.
They don't necessarily need to send people; they can send drones.
It's crazy, but that I can't remember that guy's name, that pilot's name, but his story, and even Bob Lazar. I've watched all the things on Bob Lazar. And the stuff he was talking about years ago is coming to fruition now, and everybody thought he was nuts back then and wasn't making sense. It's pretty interesting. I find it. I do think there is life elsewhere. I do. I'm always dying for a UFO. I'm always looking. I'm like,
I know.
But Jen, you're not sure?
No, obviously I'm very science minded. In the world of science, and as big as the universe is, and it's hard to think that we are the only ones, but nothing has really made me say, oh my God, I think,
Right.
it exists. I haven't seen it. I'm a very cynical person anyway.
so you need a UFO to land on your front
Pretty
lawn.
much.
Yeah.
I need to see an actual chip in a person. I love, the movies. I can't watch the shows. I just think they're ridiculous.
Yeah,
She watched Jodie Foster.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Contact were one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I could build the mountain out of mashed potatoes with no problem.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But then to go on the faith side of it, I was obviously born and raised, you go to church and everything, and I've seen things in the hospital that really makes you wonder, it really shouldn't have happened, but it did. So there had to be some sort of divine intervention, or, just your faith gets lost and certain things happen, and it's it's
This
not
is a
explainable.
reminder.
So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence.
I don't know. I feel this. I feel a little bit the same way in some aspects, only because, going through the stuff I have with Wyatt and also meeting a ton of other families and the things they were going through. Some stuff is just, how do you explain it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Area 51? Hoax or
I would love to go
cover-up?
there.
No, it's legit.
I think it's legit.
Yeah.
I would.
There's a lot of places like Area 51. That's just not the only place.
Even when we went to
Oh,
Nashville,
yeah.
going through Tennessee,
Yeah.
I saw the sign of the lab that's out in that area where they store a ridiculous amount of radioactivity and
all sorts of crazy
biological warfare.
shit.
And I'm like, wow, it'd be so cool, and you could see the smokestacks in the distance.
It'd be so
and I was,
cool to see the biological warfare.
and I
be
googled
exposed.
it,
Yeah.
and it's very much hush hush, and that would be so cool to be able to go and see.
Area 51 is real. It's where they do a lot of testing of, I think, of the military, vehicles.
I'm sure they found some crazy
I
shit.
think they probably do have some shit out there. It's like anything else, man. You get a UFO, you don't know how it works. You got to try and reverse engineer it and try and. I think we've used some of that technology.
I mean, the fact that they
look
can
at how
clone-
look at how far we've come technology wise.
Mm-hmm.
In 50 years.
Right,
I mean,
but just think,
literally.
they can clone animals. They're about to possibly bring back the woolly mammoths.
Yeah.
Don't need
We
to.
can-
There's a reason why the woolly mammoth is extinct.
No, we are the reason.
the
Yeah, the
reason.
woolly mammoth was the first
The
animal
Siberia needs them back.
Yeah, Siberia actually needs the woolly
They
mammoth back.
really need them
But yeah,
back.
that wasn't
Why?
climate change. That was man.
Because
What will
that
that
used to be
bring?
grass and the sea, now it's pretty much
yeah,
just
they're saying that the
ruining
Siberia
the
is a
tundra.
desolate wasteland because
So what will the
of the
woolly mammoth do living in that
They will
region?
shit and they will
It will melt the ice.
Yeah.
melt the ice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, like I said, they shit the seeds, they trample, they move the ice where things can grow,
Yeah, and then they're
and
Yeah,
we're
but
not
if,
about
you got,
all
but
of
if you
it.
got all these freaking people trying to freaking reduce the amount of cows because their farts
Yeah.
break down the ozone layer, what the hell's a woolly mammoth going to do?
Yeah.
He's going to let
I
out
know.
a big old fart, and they're going to be like,
Sometimes I feel like-
Siberia is no longer an ice
Right.
cap
But
because...
I feel like sometimes messing with Mother Nature
That's what I'm
is
saying,
not
man.
a good plan.
and then a fun fact going back on the cow farting, it's actually a myth. It's actually the cow burps. The burp,
So
the
burp
cow
is the
burping
methane
is where all the
versus-
methane comes from.
So coming out of their mouth instead of
It's
their
It's
ass.
coming out of their
stomach,
mouth instead
because
of their
it's gotta
butt.
So I
come-
got the
because-
end wrong.
Yeah, we got the
Well,
we got
everybody
the
does.
end, yeah, everybody
Everybody
got
says
the
it.
end wrong. It's actually the burping is what creates the
So
methane,
basically,
not
the
the
cows
fart.
need to take some sort of Yeah,
like
Tums.
Zantac or something.
Yeah, some sort of probiotic.
There's-
and they do, some farmers do give, some different feed, to reduce the methane. But yeah, it's the
But you
bourbon.
still, I can't remember what it was called. There was something that was out of Canada, but many years ago. Do you remember? Do you know the inhalers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They were using chlorofluorocarbons, CFA,
Yeah.
as a propellant.
CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons.
CFCs, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't I tell CFA? This is my beer talking. CFCs. You know why? Because they said that's breaking down the ozone layer.
Yeah.
Got to get rid of them. So they had to eliminate all the CFC propellant and replace it with an HFA.
Yeah.
And the pharmaceutical companies had to do trials with HFA to make sure that obviously it still works and stuff. And then since now they are branded products, you had to pay top dollar like a branded product for an albuterol that's been around forever and a day
No.
in the form of an AHFA versus a CFC.
Yeah.
We have that in the automotive industry because R12, which was a refrigerant, they banned that because of the hole in the ozone layer.
Yeah.
And DuPont owned that, and it was funny that they banned that at the time that their patent was up, and then so he came out with R134A. Well, guess who holds the patent on
DuPont.
R134A?
Yeah.
And then after like 10 years, we found out, well, R134A still does as much damage of the ozone layer, just not for a long time. So R12 gets in the ozone, does damage for 20 years, 21 years, something like that. 134 does the same damage, but only does it for 10 years. And now we've banned or starting to ban 134. Now we got 1234YF, which is the new refrigerant going in vehicles.
Well, it's like freaking bagging at the grocery store. First it was paper, then you're killing all the trees, so we've developed plastic bags. So they start doing plastic bags, and now Flipper's getting his nose all ripped up in a plastic bag, and it's not decomposing. So let's go back to paper. Oh no, you know what we're going to do is we're going to get cloth bags, and you can buy them and you can reuse them. People aren't reusing those cloth bags.
We do.
I don't.
You do.
I think
I use the plastic ones as
What are you
poop
talking about?
bags
You
for
don't.
Cooper.
You don't reuse your bags.
I don't have them. I use plastic bags.
But
I
I
thought
think
you used
I think the general
reusable bags.
population, I think most of those people are getting those bags, they're using them a couple times, and then they sit on a shelf somewhere, and then they throw them out, or they sell them, and
We have
then
a ton
where
of
does
them.
those cloth bags go?
Yeah,
Are they going to
landfill.
decompose?
The paper bags
No.
were great to use as book covers in school back in
Well,
the
a
I
lot
know,
of-
yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of places now do. They recycle the plastic bags.
Yeah.
They have bins outside.
But
No,
the bags now,
they use
plastic
to pick up
bags
dog shit in
are
our backyard.
The
Yeah.
plastic bags are so thin now. They're not like durable like they used to
No,
be.
God
Like they used to
almighty,
be.
you put
Like,
a freaking 2-liter bottle of soda in there and it rips out. You got a double
It
bag.
rips.
So now you got
Yeah.
a double bag because they're too thin. So now
Yeah.
you're doubly freaking, making the environment worse.
yeah.
So it's like you said, Kev. They look at the coolant. They go,
Why
oh,
don't
it's
they
bad for the
use
system.
recycled paper? I mean, they recycle. People also take recycled jeans and insulate their home with it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
because when you come
so-
home from the grocery store, you can't. If you have 17 bags, it's easy to loop them all in your arms and bring them in one load. With paper
Right.
bags, you can't do that.
I don't know.
it
We
is.
recycle. We
Blue
recycle
fingers?
cardboard
Yeah,
at work. We have a company that recycles our cardboard.
yeah.
But it's difficult. I mean, it's like, it's nice to have recyclable stuff, but I mean, it's, and I know we're guilty of it. You have to be very conscious in order to be a recyclable
We're
family.
horrible. We really do.
We're
We're
have to
not.
be
We
like-
recycle.
We're really good.
Plastic,
Yeah,
aluminum.
we really do recycle.
I take all of our batteries to work that go dead, and we recycle them at work because the lead acid battery, the number one
Yeah.
most recycled thing on the planet,
Yeah.
lead acid batteries.
I know.
So-
Just from also working at Goodwill, we recycle a lot. It's out of habit too, so we just do it at home, and you have to at work.
Right.
So I think it's just
Comes
because we're in
natural.
that
Mhm.
where it's normal to us, and plus I feel like Graham's like our kids' generation and like Gabby and stuff, like they're so used to like hearing about the environment that to them recycling is not.
Yeah,
Like
Kerr's generation invented styrofoam.
Hey, all I know is that we have a recyclable can I put out once in 5 years.
Really.
Yeah,
Ours
Don't ask
we have,
Joe
we have,
about
We
recycling.
have
He's
two,
not
and they're
gonna
like, we
give
have two 60-gallon big recyclable on wheels.
Yeah,
they
we
are
wheel it
full
out to the
every
road.
single week.
I've
Yeah.
recycled bottles in Delaware because you got money for
Yeah,
them.
5 cents
Yeah,
a
yeah,
can.
yeah.
Our neighbor,
In
we gave
college,
him all
we
our
would do that,
cans.
and
He
you
was
bought a
doing
case
that.
of beer at the end of the semester. You go in with all your empty beer bottles, and then you get all your money, and then you get a case of beer. The other thing in Delaware I always thought was pretty ingenious was in parking lots you would see a white dome, brown dome, green dome, and then a big container. And the white dome was for clear bottles, the green dome was for green bottles, the brown dome was for brown bottles, and then they had a big thing for recyclable paper and cardboard.
Yeah.
That's kind of like how it was when I lived in North Carolina. You had to take your own trash and your recyclables to a place, and everything was set up for what it was. And
But if you make it
threw
too
in
difficult for
recyclables.
people to separate their glass, they won't do it.
Well,
You
so
know,
I'm saying
yeah.
it was neat, but I mean, it comes to us, even here.
We're not very environmentally
No,
friendly.
we're horrible. We're bad.
I still use aerosol.
Neil Young
hairspray.
would not talk to us.
Yeah, but no aerosols now have CFCs in them. So I mean, they banned that and all the aerosols
My
now.
generation came out with Styrofoam and Aquanet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Aquanet.
Aquanet.
There was actually, and I think it was last year or 2 years ago, these organizations that monitor, the ozone, and they came across like these two hot spots, and they were directly over China, and they were like, and they still had and they were CFCs, that they were getting out of the air, and like, who the hell? CFCs have been banned
Aquanet.
for 20 years. Who the hell? So they actually traced them down to these factories.
Yeah.
They went into these factories, and the people in the factories like, hey, this is banned. Or like, no, we've been doing this for like 20. Nobody's told us anything. No, and they're still producing these CFCs, and
That's why I hate. That's why, in my personal opinion, I think you got to be and we know we're not all the time, but environmentally conscious. But I really do hate the political rhetoric that the United States is destroying the world. And I remember when George Bush, oh my gosh, there's a reason why there's a flood and the hurricanes is him. I'm sitting there going, we are the most regulated country on the face of the planet. We're also the only other planet. We're also one of the only other countries that can buy greater carbon footprinting, which will allow you to be more polluting. But if you have the balls to say that our country is doing this, yet you have a completely unregulated China, or you look at India with the smog, where
or the India that dumping the trash in the rivers.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there looking at people going,
out, they just go down the rivers.
hey, listen here, Lester, in your freaking skinny jeans. Look beyond CNN and take a look and see what the world is doing. Because
feel
that's
like,
where the damage is being done.
I think there's been damage done by many all over the world, but there's obviously still parts of the world still doing damage. But like as far as weather and like things that are happening, like we don't know. We didn't live through like an ice age and all that stuff. Who's to say that shit's not going to happen again? The planet.
It does. The planet.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
So
cyclical.
we can't say that that's not what's taking place too.
Yeah.
Is that the world is changing?
If the planet was covered in water, and then had we go back to aliens. If the planet was covered in water and it was one big freaking continent, and it broke apart, and then they had an ice age, and then they had a flood, and then they had an ice age, and then a meteor. You mean to tell me that you really think that we're causing all this when the planet is the environment is cyclical? I'm not so stupid.
Oil spills in the ocean.
Well, no, I'm not.
Plastic garbage. And
I'm
all
not
that stuff
saying
is
that we're
killing
not.
our-
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
It's like the movie Up.
Yeah, but I'm
Or
not
not Up.
down.
Wally.
But yeah, but I'm not saying.
Oh,
I'm not saying that we don't impact it. We should not be conscious. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah,
But
no, I know.
think that they're
you're
trying to
yeah.
put. They're trying to take what I think is a good cause, and they're trying
Right.
to make it into this global
Well, it's
pandemic,
also
right?
for profit.
When they talk
it's
about
a profitable thing.
when you have politicians saying that this is the number one thing facing the world, the most damaging thing is climate change, and I'm going, you're trying to direct people to look over here to stop them from looking over here.
Yeah.
Hey, let's not talk about like also the fact that chickens and stuff and the hormones and everything, the fact that some vegetables are this big that shouldn't be this big, like and young girls are getting their period at like 9 years old and boobs at 9 years old. Like there's like they're pumping chemicals also into
Well, that's
to
true.
people.
But you know what
And
else?
so that's what I'm saying though. So like they're going to talk about the environment, but what also are they doing to the environment to
But they don't
mass
care about
produce
that.
this shit food?
It doesn't
you know?
it doesn't fit their agenda. And the other thing is, do you ever see the years ago when probably over a decade or so ago, even longer, they actually plunged into the polar caps with these big machines and pulled out these huge rods of ice. Right?
Yeah, the ice cores. Yeah,
The ice cores, yeah. And they could go through that ice core and date over everything that's happened, most everything in this world, on our planet. And the area, they could actually go through and go, in this part here, this ice core, this is when Chernobyl happened. Because
So crazy.
But the one area which was the highly most damaging pollutant time frame was the Bronze Age.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The Bronze Age, am I supposed to take responsibility for the Bronze Age? I'm supposed to take responsibility for everything else. But I do think we need to be careful and we need to treat the earth accordingly.
I'm a little bit of a tree hugger. I'm not going to lie. I feel like a connection to nature, and I feel like there's a balance. There's a circle of life. I think, I have a healthy respect.
Is the earth going to?
No, I just feel like I'm going to do my part myself, but I don't expect anybody else to do, but I live the way that I feel comfortable and good for me. I don't need I'm not going to tell anyone else how to live because that's not right. I wouldn't want someone telling me how to live.
I don't litter. But, I hate littering. I think
littering
is horrible.
Like that's one of the things when I first met Kevin, like his biggest pet peeve was don't throw shit out the window. I mean, throwing an apple out the window is
biodegradable.
But throwing a bag out the window.
I was in a car recently with a cigar maker that opened up a pack of cigarettes, and he flipped off, did like the little tear of the cellophane, crumpled it up, rolled down the window, threw it out, and rolled it back up. I
was ready to jump out of the car.
I didn't say. I'm like, hey, can you? You accidentally. Let me go get that for you. And I'm like, how is this a thing?
Cigarette butts, filters are not biodegradable.
Those filters, like
every time someone throws one out the window, that's littering.
Oh,
that is littering.
Yeah.
And also in Florida during our dry months, I want to be like, are you trying to set us on fire? Assholes.
Well, there's that.
I was golfing with a couple of guys from New York. It was me and my buddy Dugan, and they paired us up. And it was usually they don't let twosomes go out. I'm like, hey, do you guys want to go out with those guys? A couple of firefighters from New York. They were smoking cigarettes, and the one guy flicked it into the mulch, and then just kept driving his cart. And I'm like, have you ever been to Florida? Burn this whole motherfucker down.
We're gonna burn.
Yeah.
I don't know. I grew up on like a farm, and we owned a landscaping company and garden center, and so I have like a healthy respect for like the environment. But by no means am I a radical. I'm not going to go out and protest and be like, oh, I can't believe you do that. But you take a tree, you plant a tree, type of thing. It's not that hard. It's an easy concept.
Mother Nature will fight back.
Mother Nature can get pissed. Yes, yeah. I agree with that. Like Mother Nature has a way of telling us.
I don't think Mother Nature goes after people for littering.
No, I think Mother Nature will let us know and cleanse the earth if it needs to.
So you think if you have a community that's being
not
clean,
but what
Mother
I'm saying
Nature's
is,
going to have them flooded?
We have a pattern of
build an
red
ark.
tide. We have a pattern of hurricanes. We have a pattern of that type of stuff. I mean, it is kind of a pattern.
I think the first plague, the Black Plague, I think that was Mother Nature. Like, hey, there's
too many of you.
A little bit too many of you, congregating in one area. So let's take care of that. We're on the verge of what, 7 billion people on this planet, 8 billion people.
That's a lot.
How many people can this planet support to where we're going to have to do something?
It's sort of what was that Swordfish movie? It's for the greater of the good of the people. It's the government decided who was gonna.
Like Bill Burr.
They started bombing places and.
Bill Burr thinks you should just start sinking cruise liners.
Yeah,
he said it's a good mix of people.
No, but I am definitely for the environment. But am I extreme? No. Do I think that
but
that we're the cause of everything? No.
But I think it goes back to the aliens thing. When I said earlier, when you said, people would mass, they would freak out. I think the majority of people, at least for me, knowing that there's proof of intelligent beings out there gives me hope. Gives me hope that this planet can survive. So it gives me the hope to it gets to a certain point to where someone's going to have to intervene and be like, you guys have screwed this place up. Let us help you fix it.
I'm hoping that they beam me up and take me away, maybe.
I know. What you read an article where it said something about like I have alien blood or something.
Yeah.
Because I'm Rh negative, and they say that's.
Well,
like,
so that's what Kevin said. Your neighbor, right? So lights over your house.
Yeah.
It's like you and the people, the native people of, the Himalayas that can travel up the really steep, high altitudes and be fine.
Yeah.
And they actually have a gene, I think, they have a gene that is no one else has.
But it makes you wonder because it's like they lived in that environment and over time, like obviously
like Jen said, like science can probably explain that. It's
they haven't been
a little bit of evolution. These people
there has
living.
to be, but like being RH,
they found a small bone that they think is an alien bone that had that same genetic makeup as the people who go to.
But they're saying like it's a very hard thing for them to explain, and I'm thinking, well, why? Why is that a hard thing? And how did I get that?
Yeah.
Like, who am I to have Rh negative? Like,
who am I? Alien, you're from Atlantis.
Maybe,
Atlantis,
but my family, like nobody, like we did our 23 DNA, 23andMe DNA like kits. I did in my family. Nobody in my family has the A negative, Rh negative at all, except for Wyatt. Wyatt inherited it from me, but like. All my other cousins, my uncles, nobody else is A negative. So I don't know how far back
just a dormant
in my DNA it goes, but nobody currently that is living has RH.
Well, it's like the first baby born, in a family with blue eyes. It's like where did those
No,
so
and I know it goes back in your genetic. I get that. I'm not being naive. I'm just saying, but nobody currently alive in my family has it besides me and Wyatt at this point, which is really strange because I have a huge family on my mom's side. Not one of them have it.
Yeah. And I hear these stories like
so
Jen was saying, Jen has seen way more, and then probably Amber can say, say it too. There's just certain things they can't explain in the medical field. It happens. Everybody gets together, they pray to whatever, and then the cancer goes away. Or whatever goes away, and it's like, how do you, at that point,
or like somebody recovers from a coma.
At that point, it's fate. You've got to go. It's like science didn't intervene in that. It's like something intervened in what it is.
But they have done studies, especially in coma patients, right, Jen, where there's neurological stimulus like that happens at certain points that. It's not like they could see in their brain, obviously. Like, are they? Because they say they don't dream, right?
No, Jen says we can see in their brain.
No, but like they're not supposed to be able to dream, but yet they're being stimulated. Yeah. So what is that? What is that?
Who can't?
I don't know.
It's mind blowing.
Coma. Supposedly you're not dreaming. It's just such a vegetated state.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
That's. Even when they put you in a sedated coma, you're not supposed to be able to.
Induced.
A medical induced coma.
So
but
if you come out of a coma and they can remember things and had dreams.
Yeah, people have. Mm-hmm. They say that it's some crazy. I mean, not crazy.
Having like a
an outer body,
afterlife, near
out of body
death,
experience,
whatever.
Or what about the people that are born that can tell you about someone else's life?
That's creepy when you hear that,
young kids can tell you about someone else's life because they've been
like that. Patton.
Oh, really?
If you read about Patton, they when they were in Sicily, and they came upon this city, Patton was looking over it because they were expecting the enemy, and he said, "Okay, we're going to go here. We're going to go through there, and there's a passage this way." And he'd never been there before. And the guy said, "How do you know this?" He said, "Oh, I was a centurion back during the Roman Empire." And he
I've
navigated
never heard that story.
navigated through the city. Look it up. Yeah.
But they say that it's your soul, your spirit, right? Like for people who believe in reincarnation or any of
that's
stuff.
what the word
Yeah,
I'm looking for,
reincarnation and stuff. But like Buddhists believe that, and you go into nirvana and all that stuff. So, but how do you explain that? There are people like 5-6 years old talking about a time and like being a person in that time and stories that they can actually track back from articles. How is that possible?
They read the internet. They look at the internet.
Yeah, at 5 years old?
Google.
Yeah, they're pretty smart now. I mean,
it's amazing what they can do on a computer.
No,
but
I'm joking saying, around. Like, I mean, it is pretty crazy.
It's intense.
It's that's why when people talk about karma, everybody our use of the word karma now is like it needs to be instant. Like, oh look, you broke up with me. Now you got broken up with. Karma's a bitch, isn't it? It's like
I know.
That's not how that karma, works. You idiot. It's if you do good in this world, when you die, you will be rewarded in your next life. You do shitty things, and you'll be rewarded.
Do you believe in deja vu?
No.
That's the Matrix.
That's the Matrix.
What about coincidence?
There are no coincidences.
What do you guys think? Are there things that are a coincidence?
Nope. Oh,
no, I know you're.
No, I don't believe in deja vu. I think that's just your brain freaking recalibrating a similar situation, and
that seems familiar.
That's it. Yeah.
Everything. I don't know. Everything happens. Everything is predestined. I don't know. I don't think it's possible to change anything.
How is it predestined?
I think our lives are predestined. Like I said, everything I'm going to do from the time I'm born until the day I die has already been planned out.
How? By what?
You don't believe in free choice?
Free will?
I believe in. I believe maybe free will is an illusion.
What are you drinking, Kerr?
I don't know. I'm drinking a lot of stupid water. It's not smart water. It's stupid
so if you
water.
have multiple choices, that you're destined to choose that.
No matter what choice you choose, it's always going to lead you to the end. It's like the paradox, like Back to the Future. If you change this is going to change. A lot of scientists, especially over the last year, doesn't believe in a paradox. Everything is meant to happen. So even if you think you have a choice, you never had that choice. So
you're going to tell me that a woman who's walking down the street and gets raped, even if she decided maybe not to walk down that street, but at some point in her life, she's still going to be raped?
No, she was going to be raped. So no matter what she did prior to that walking down that street, everything that she did was always going to bring her down that street at that time in her life.
Wow.
I just believe. And some people call, and I've said that, like Brad, some people call that faith. Some people call that God's will. God has a plan from everybody from the moment you're born until the moment you die. I just believe, everything.
I mean, that's kind of the same thing.
I do believe that you walk certain paths. You may not understand why. And there's, it may not seem there's a rational reason for obstacles, things in life of happening, but you may never understand, but there's still that path that you're supposed to take.
I gotta go get smart real quick. Hold on. I'll be right back.
I mean, I guess I'm not sure that I'm on the same page as you guys. I mean, you guys seem to have a similar, agreement as far as that. And I'm not totally with Kerr either. I feel like I think we can change our destiny.
I think there's choices that you can make that will, there's multiple paths to take. And there's a reason why you're going down that path. You just may never truly understand why. And that's one thing that we talk about with Joe is, having leukemia. And he, to this day, will say it is as much a blessing as it is a curse.
It's a curse.
At a young age, he says, there was a reason why he had this, why he went through what he did with this, why he beat it when, a close friend to his had the same type of leukemia, went through very similar, and she didn't survive. So why out of 10 children, 9 of them get cured, 1 doesn't. Why is Joe one of the 9? And tomorrow we have an oncology checkup. And it's, that's always pops into my head of, why was he chosen to walk this path? Well, he's affected a lot of people's lives. We've done a lot to help others. But to go down that path was, something you don't wish on anyone.
Yeah, how often do you are you guys doing? Is it once a year?
Well, now we're at after tomorrow. It'll be once a year. So we actually just hit on April 12th was 6 years post treatment.
Oh wow!
Which is amazing to believe. Like Joe and I will talk about it where we'll look back and it almost seems like it never happened, even though you can't really say that. Like it's just so surreal. Really, that's the only way
that's
to
the best
it.
word because I say that
it's
all the time to people
to see where we are now.
Yeah.
And
so how often have you been going? Now it's going to be once a year.
We were when it was post treatment. It was basically monthly, and then you get to a certain level. And then it's every couple months, and then we were at every 6 months. So with tomorrow's visit, it will be yearly.
With Wyatt,
and it's a lifetime thing that he's going to have.
It is a lifetime thing. Wyatt is now every 2 to 3 years for his heart, but obviously in the beginning it was every month. Mm-hmm. Then it was once a year. So now it's like every 2 to 3
So how long does Joe go until those become once every 5 years or 10 years?
It'll pretty much be a yearly checkup because you're always looking to make sure that the toxicity that was put into his body hasn't affected anything. But then also they always make sure there's nothing secondary going on because unfortunately you run that risk to cure cancer, to beat it, or to get into remission. You're running a chance of secondary cancers because of what you're giving a person. So we're at the phase now of post, basically making sure that it's developmental growth, cardiac
impact on his body.
Yeah, looking at
are those toxins, everything? They test for that. Are those like gone now, or how long does that? How long does that take for your body to get rid of all of that?
Well, I don't know what the half-life is. The way I would think of it is kind of the efficacy of it, but to see that he has a 4.3 GPA, his growth is great, his
I was going to ask,
muscle
did
building.
it affect his puberty at all?
No, he wishes he was taller. Like it did, probably because he was going through it from age 6 to 9.5 because it was 3.5 years, actually longer than that. Well, about that.
Yeah, that.
And the high doses of steroids, we
get
bone age checks and stuff like that.
Ligaments. I mean, all the impact.
So they estimate that he'll probably be about 5'8". He wants to be taller, but he's almost my height. I think he's going to be pretty close tomorrow. So
but genetically, it's not like you have a family full of 6'4" people, and he's like
no. But I'll tell you, I just went through all that with Wyatt.
Because his brother is
my brother's a little bit shorter than me, but my dad's tall.
Yeah, well, your dad's tall.
But my mom's short. My mom's only 5'1". I'm in the average.
You're an average height. Your brother is literally
shorter than me.
We have a picture of me holding him like this,
like a puppet.
He's just a string away from being, a ventriloquist dummy.
If you're anything under 6 foot in my family, you are a midget. You get made fun of. Like
don't get made fun of.
There's nobody in my family under 6 feet.
Stop it. But like for me, like when the experience with Wyatt, like the steroids, that stunted his growth. But yet it kicked him into going into puberty early, like way too early, and his bones started to fuse, so he stopped growing.
Yeah.
So we did a shot for 2 years to stop him from going through puberty, so it could give him growth. No, he's still not 5 feet, but that's it. We stopped the shots. This is the height Wyatt's probably going to be.
And Kerr will understand that, like, the shot's so expensive, they wouldn't pay
for the insert under the armpit that does the same thing as the shot in the butt. He had to go every 2 months for 2 years and get a shot in the butt that an implant could have done. It was just because the implant would have been the same. It all came out the same amount of money, but the implant was more expensive up front where the shot was over gradually, which was so stupid because this poor kid, you got a crazy Alice.
I'm going to smoke this for you next.
Thanks. Yeah. I just bought a box of Crazy Alice because I'm not a fan of the shape, and I feel like it's a quick smoke.
I like the
But
shape.
Do you? A lot of people keep saying that.
There's another cigar that
hate
Drew
that
Estate
shape.
makes in this shape, and I cannot think of the name of it.
The nasty
the nasty
fritas.
No, there's one before that.
Or
maybe
is it
there
the
is.
Papa Frita?
No.
I think the Fritas was the only DE. No, was there?
There's another Drew Estate cigar that I used to get that's in this shape. A few years ago, when there was no cigar shops here open on Sundays, there was a head shop, basically, is what we used to call them back when I was a kid. You're growing up. It's they sell glass bongs and stuff and beer.
Yeah.
And they have like a little humidor, and they used to sell these. Yeah, they used to sell a cigar from Drew Estate that was this shape, and it had a really spicy flavor to it, and I liked it. It was the only really one that I liked.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah, the Liga.
Kind of...
Yeah, the only one I can find is the Liga Privada, the Unico series, the Nasty Fritas. Huh. I wonder what.
I have to look it up and maybe stop by there and see if they have any more. But I know it was an acid.
Yeah.
Oh, it was an acid.
Yeah.
In the acid line,
That's
I believe
Drew
that was
Estate,
the
right.
Yeah, it was the because the Nasty Fritas is that size, a traditional cigar. But I think in the acid line, I think it was the one of the purples. It was not the purple infusion, which would have been the extraordinary Larry,
which is disgusting.
No, this was I was getting these back when we lived in Taylor's.
Yeah.
I mean the Crazy
about 5
Alice
years ago
has a very good taste to it. I'm just that shape gets me every time. Like, I don't know why, but I bought a box because I wanted to give her another chance because out of all the yummy bitches, she's my least favorite.
You know what's funny is when it comes to some of these cigars, I don't mind the flavor of the cigar and the smoke. It's the flavor that I get on my tongue and my mouth of the sweetness of the tip. And that's the reason why I don't put sugar and shit in my coffee.
Yeah. I don't know. The Fat Bottom Betty has such a great boldness in it that I mean, it has got definitely a sweeter tip than most.
See, this tastes good smoking it.
This smoke smells different than your other ones.
But like the mouth area, because I'm getting that in my saliva and it's hitting my palate. So the smoke's mixing with this, and I just feel like it's very sugary. And I don't like very sugary stuff unless it's like a chocolate chip cookie or something.
Right. I don't blame you.
I mean, that's really.
No,
I
get it.
And Kevin gave me the Tabacs, and I thought the Tabacs, again, tasted great. It was just, for some reason, some of these infused cigars, the sweetness that mixes in my saliva with the palate, I'm just not a fan of.
I usually tend to smoke them in the evening after I've already smoked a few, because I feel like I need that little bit of sweetness because my taste buds are kind of fried a little bit. For me,
one of those freaking like tips. I need Kevin's cigar freaking.
You need a pipe.
You need a poker.
I do. I need a pipe.
You need a corncob pipe.
Stop fixating. You're not.
It's driving me insane which cigar it was. But yeah, I think Kerr is right. There used to be.
I kind of want to try that.
I thought it had an orange label to it, if I'm not mistaken. And
we'll
it was very kind of like.
There it is.
God.
Right there.
They did make the Nasty in a infused.
Wow.
So,
it is an orange label. I wonder if you could even find those.
Yeah, the acid Nasty Maduro.
I used to get them on Sundays.
It was the red label.
Can you even get those?
Let's see. Thompson came up, so I don't know.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, still available.
How much?
Box of 24. It's the pyramid shape.
$146.
They're not a bad cigar. I used to go in there because they didn't have a really big selection at the time. Now they have a big selection, but they kind of had the standards that you get out of Santa Clara and shit. So I'd go in there and maybe get a Romeo and Julieta. I can't remember another cigar, and I'd get one of those little nasties, and I'd smoke it.
Okay, so maybe that's why you like the shape of Alice.
I actually like this shape just in general for some reason. I do. I think it's a cool
Really?
shape. Yeah.
For whatever reason,
I'd come out with a cigar with this shape.
It's neat looking.
The shape is cool looking, but for me, when I go to smoke it, I don't know. There's something about it.
It
But I
reminds
have,
me of like the Bob Marley spliffs that he would
yeah,
roll.
Yeah.
yeah.
Exact same
So,
shape.
yeah. I was trying to figure out. I don't know what infusion that is. I don't know what other ones.
I don't know. Stop
Yeah.
focusing on it. Who cares at this point? Look it up later.
Thank you,
Obsess
Kevin.
over it later.
I'll tell you what, the one thing I will give these cigars, even though they're not in my wheelhouse for flavor, I mean, it's just not,
Yeah.
is the construction is fucking phenomenal, and the ash is like perfectly white. I like the flavor of the cigar and the smoke. I just don't like, again, the sugary tip.
Yeah.
Have you had one of their Acid 20th anniversary
I
cigars?
didn't like it.
You
Yeah.
didn't like it? How about their Arte, Cuba Arte?
No, never had that one. Every
Oh,
once in a
I'll
while,
send-
I'll smoke
I'll
a
send
Cuba
you some.
Cuba.
Just because I
Yeah.
think you might like it because it definitely has some spice to it.
Every once in a while, I'll smoke a Cuba Cuba.
Yeah.
I didn't think I didn't like the Candela Cuba Cuba. I think that was what it was, right? They did a.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
some.
The ass. That's. I thought it was fantastic.
I wasn't a fan of it. I had their toast. I wasn't a fan of.
Oh, how about their beach?
I haven't had their beach.
Beach is
I'm
good.
not. I'm not a huge fan of the toast.
Not at all.
I'm not a huge fan of the 20th anniversary. It doesn't hit me right.
I like the Cuba Arte. I like the 20th anniversary, me personally, but the
Yeah.
Cuba Arte has a nice. It does have the sweetness, but it has some spice in it.
Was
There's
it the
some boldness.
blondie? Maybe.
Blondies are okay.
The blondie is
They're
the
a
same
little
as the
sweet.
Cuba Cuba because all the
Yeah.
colors of the band have the
Blue.
same infusion.
Yeah, those aren't bad.
Yeah.
I didn't like the toast, believe it or not. I didn't. And the
Yeah, I'm not
20th anniversary, I smoked that when I was like, it had too many funky flavors going on that I just
Yeah.
was not.
We'll
digging.
send you some of the Cuba Artes because we have
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
them
the-
because we
the-
bought all those towers.
Yeah,
but-
the 20th anniversary has the same infusion as their original 5-year anniversary. So it's nice for them to bring back that infusion for the new one.
I know people who smoked it and loved it, and I was just kind of like, the only thing is here is the smell that you're getting off it.
Yeah,
the smoke.
it's
Definitely has
definitely
that smell that I've been told when a tobacco's been treated with mineral oil,
it
Yeah.
definitely has almost an
like a kerosene.
incense type.
It's got a little bit of a.
There's a smell I can't put my
Yeah.
finger on it.
And it's been so long since I smoked one of those. I don't remember.
But the flavor's really good.
I just smoked one the other day. It definitely has that smell.
The
I know what you're
flavor's
talking.
really good. Because there's.
Well,
certain-
Craig Vanderslice was smoking one the other day, and I was like, man, I haven't had a Crazy Alice in forever. And then I went and bought a box and was like, yeah, I'm still not a fan, but I don't hate it. I just
love the artwork and I love the shape. I mean, that's freaking
Yeah.
brilliant. That whole Deadwood series is just.
I know that
Oh,
the
yeah.
Betty is my girl. I like Sweet Jane too, and I like the oh great, now my brain went kaput. What's the newest one? Leather Rose. I honestly I thought Leather Rose was not what I would have expected it to be a lot bolder, a lot spicier, and she wasn't.
Jennifer picked that over the BOTL.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah, good
cigar.
cigar.
I got that for you
That's
up
a
in
great
Charlotte
cigar.
when Joe and I went
really
shopping.
nice cigar.
That's
a
great
Big
cigar.
fan of that cigar.
At the
That's a
cigar
that's not
place
an
I went
easy
into.
cigar to find either.
Yeah, they're bringing back next year. So Abe at Smoke Inn, one of his microblend series was the Pope of Greenwich Village,
Oh, such a
which
good
was it's a traditional
Great movie.
cigar, very reminiscent of the BOTL.
Mhm.
And every now and then he'll send me a few out of because they're just not available. He'll send us a few out of his personal stash. So that's coming back next year. I think.
Yeah, we were fortunate.
So how is he going to be able to
smoke the
call it
original.
that with a movie called that? When we talk about copyrights.
Oh, that's true.
Drew Estate's pretty good on that. Drew Estate has bought the rights to a few different names. So
You can buy, and I also think it has something to do when you go for trademarks and copyrights. Because I remember when I went through mine, it has to do with the industry it's in too. So
Yes.
I think it has if
If we were making a movie,
if we were
and
making a
calling it
movie,
that,
or
yeah.
like maybe, and I may be completely wrong on this, but like polo is clothing, right? If you came out with a polo cigar, because it's two separate entities. No
Right.
one can
Well-
confuse you for one or the other. But I think if someone does go after a trademark, that they can either have it very basic or have it encapsulate multiple
Well,
markets. and areas.
it's when they so you look at, in the trademark industry, the one name that always comes up is Delta. So you got Delta Faucets, Delta Airlines. There's like 6 different companies, giant billion-dollar
Yeah.
companies named Delta, and because they're in different industries, they can use the name.
Well,
but
because everybody always says Delta Airlines.
but
but they
none
can't be
of the
mistaken.
none of the logos are exactly the same.
Right.
When you use a clown and call it the Captain Spaulding, that is a direct
Right.
ripoff. So that's where the trademark
Because you're
walks
making
a
money.
fine-
You're making money off of the other trademark.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I came out with a clown with that, even with that image, and like Kevin's saying, I mean, it's if you're making direct profit off of,
Like
I can't come out with
yeah.
a cigar that's named Polo and have the freaking Polo player on it.
Right.
Yeah, or the different font, but have that, was it the blue, white, red, whatever the
Well,
polo.
What's their
we get-
faces? We
I
used to
will
sue
tell you
people
right
based
now,
off of
we get-
patterns.
Yeah.
But how
Yeah.
do the knockoffs work? Because they do have that logo on
Oh,
it.
because they're all just overseas. China doesn't
Yeah.
care.
Okay, well,
It's illegal.
we get a lot of the
Yeah.
knockoffs.
You get them on the
at
side
Goodwill?
street of New York City.
And I laugh because like it will say like polo socks, and I'm like, and it will have the little polo guy on it,
Yeah.
but you know they're not polo.
Well, and then
Yeah,
some
you
of those,
go legally after them. You're going to be chasing. It's going to be. You're going to be.
Like
You're going to be.
ghosts.
Suing ghosts.
and some of those companies, like Amy and her husband from Cigars Up.
Yeah.
So I was looking for a product on Alibaba one day, and I found a company that was selling their product like a quarter of the cost, that they were selling their
Yeah.
product for. And I snapshotted it and then sent it to, I forget her husband's name,
Steve.
Steve, and I'm like, hey, you may want to look into it. And he goes, like, yeah, that's the factory that makes ours. Like nothing I can do. They produce 10,000 for us,
Wow.
and then 10,000 for themselves, and then just send it.
I mean, that was
Yeah,
one of the
so,
things when Kevin started doing his cigar props. Like, we were trying really hard to stay in America, and also finding local businesses because we're really want to support, local businesses. I mean, you've done a pretty damn good job of staying as local or as in the United States as possible. Because when you do branch out to China and all that stuff, look what happens. They knock you off,
you
and
look at,
then
like-
you're now your competitors who's making your product.
You look at Brian's dad, Dick, he had to fly over to China once. They were making a machine for Sun Hydraulics to make this valve, and it was a multi-million-dollar machine that there's one place in China that specialized in making these machines. So they was going to check on the progress of it, and they saw 2 of them being built.
Yeah.
And they only commissioned 1. And then they're like, yeah, don't pay attention to that one. And as soon as Sun Hydraulics started making that, they found these knockoff, valves, hydraulic valves online. So they were just building 2 machines at the same time. And
No, exactly. It's freaking horrible. But I mean, it's
The nature of the beast.
it
Yeah.
is. But I mean, I think to our question earlier, some of the cigars, the short runs and stuff. They're short runs. It's like you hit it and you quit it, and it's like
Right, but I think as far as products goes, people know, when something is rushed, something is half-assed, the packaging is terrible, you're most likely to maybe pay a few extra dollars because you're going to get better quality.
Yeah.
I'd
Some
much
people
rather
don't
pay
care.
more
Yeah.
for
Right.
better.
Right,
Yeah.
and some people don't care. They just want what they want, and they want it cheap. But when you buy cheap, or you buy
You
it
get
in
what you
bulk,
pay
it's
for.
cheap, you get what you pay for.
Most
And I think,
definitely.
and I think a lot of people do see these similar products, but they're also going to go with a trusted, hey, look at all these reviews. These other people have bought this similar product. I'm going to go with this one because I trust the fact these people are giving me an honest review.
Yeah. And then the thing with the Cigar bond, the next company may not just send you a cease and desist. It just could be like, hey, you've done this before. We're just going to sue you now.
Yeah, but what is it? I mean, how does that? I mean, are you?
Well,
Is it even worth their time?
Well,
at this point?
Depends on how much money you make.
Yeah, I guess it
and
depends on how big the other company is.
Because I remember when we came out with my cigar, it was originally called El Viajante.
Yeah.
and it was the idea was to have the Stogie Road Diaries and have a number of cigars. And I got a letter. It wasn't a cease. It wasn't even a cease and desist. It was kind of like a hey, Viajante, and here's our trademark, and it means the traveler, and it's very similar, and we don't want our brand being mixed up with your brand and vice versa. Could you? I guess it was a cease and desist.
Yeah.
But it was written in such a way where it was explaining everything, and I didn't think it was like it wasn't a very mean letter.
No.
Right.
And when I got it, I went, you know what? Am I going to battle this and go, well, El Viajante and Viaje is different and this and that? And I thought, well, they've been around for a while. They sent me this letter. And I sent them a letter back, and I said, look, I respect, the company. I've had your cigars before, and I don't want this to occur either. But, X amount of boxes have been made, and they've already been pre-sold, and I can't unring that bell. But moving forward, the name will be changed, if that's okay. I'll even make a formal press announcement, change the name, and they were like, no, just, we believe you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Yeah, because you don't want to end up like Sam Lucia, in a year-long court battle and lose all of your money, and some of these other manufacturers that do fight it and then do end up.
No, but I also think you by you reaching out with a letter to them, prove to them like you weren't trying to pretend that this wasn't happening or like.
Yeah, it wasn't like a
it was very
similar. Because there's a couple of companies out there where they have the cigars are named after or are named the same as another cigar. The logo, the cigar band looks the same, and you're like,
yeah.
I mean, what's her Millie Madabel? Have you seen her post?
No.
She had a cigar, Flor de Madabel, and it was a nice cigar too. I think Felix Mesa used to make it for her, and I think she got involved in a little bit of a legal battle with her logo and her band because it looked too much like my father's.
Oh.
A very nice lady and a great cigar. I mean, it's fantastic. But you see something like that happen, and it was very small potatoes. But, I got the letter. We were like, okay, fine, no problem. I mean, I'd freaking change the name. It's, we're new and starting off. And what are you going to sue me for? Like the $1,300 that we made off the first couple hundred? I mean, whatever. You get the letter. Yeah. But I think people just skate too close with that shit.
Yeah.
And Kevin, going back to Sam, I got to actually reach out to Sam next week. I'll be getting some of the red tips.
Okay. Oh, right on. I love that. Love that story.
Oh my God. Yeah. So do I. Just the whole antique bands, because Kerr has one of the things I do.
He's such a brilliant dude, man.
I love looking for vintage antique cigar items. We have ledgers from the 1800s. We have cigar bands.
We have a map of
the states from the
Carolina
1800s.
with tobacco
actually the
trade.
Tobacco farms.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
To have antique bands and then have a blend in it.
Because I reached out to him. I'm like, hey man, I'm a cigar, cigar shop, and I like to carry several of the. If you sell them, he's like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah. So I got to contact him. I'm gonna get some because I love the story behind it.
It's really amazing.
Genius.
Espinosa's making the cigars.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good combination between
Absolutely.
his cigars and Sam's. Sam's just. I think he's a brilliant dude. I mean, we've had him on the show a couple times. I've talked to him outside of the show many a times, and he's just.
I love his stickers in it.
But you want to know what I think also happens in the cigar industry? It's not so much that people are trying to copy someone. I think a lot of things can be developed, coming off the same information or seeing other types of things, and people come up with similar ideas and stuff. And I could see how that can kind of make it seem like people are,
copying
and
you?
Because people can't be original.
Well, in the cigar industry, when you think about it, originality is out the window.
Right.
And I've even seen some folks, I won't mention any names, I've seen the artwork inside the Vista, inside the cigar box, and the logo, which literally was taken from artwork from 100 years ago.
Right.
Almost identical except for the name.
Yeah.
But some may call that copying. Some may say it's an homage to the history,
Right.
whatever. I mean, I make barber pole cigars, not barbecue. I make barber pole cigars. I'm not
Are you going to start making barbecue?
Yeah, barbecue sauce. I do have barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
But I mean, I'm not the only one making barber. You me saying barbecue now.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one making barber pole cigars. I mean, and to think that because someone comes out with a Connecticut Maduro, it's a knock. I mean, give me a fucking break. I mean, it's not. It's just what blends are you using, how are you going to market it, and there's a lot of similarities along the way. And anybody who claims that they're original that has not been in this thing for as long as like the Fuentes have been, or the Padrones. I mean, you're really not original.
I also think the cigars will just stand on their own accord anyway.
And
there are some, like I said, we've talked with some makers, that have brought back 100 years, and then they're up front. Like this used to be a cigar brand 100 years ago. We bought from the family. The name, we're using the exact same name, the exact same logo. We want to be upfront. This isn't something that we created. It's not.
But we want to, bring our.
Yeah, we want to bring this back into its. Into.
No, and I get that, but I do think you could see like how many different like concepts of names can someone come up with. So it's bound to happen, and I get that. But when someone blatantly steals something from someone else.
And some of the manufacturers, like I said, our good friend Art Garcia, with his Segovia de Antilles or something, so my fathers went after him, for the Antilles name, and then made him change. So he went through a big long court battle, but he won a little bit because during the court battle, he found out that my fathers didn't own that trademark in Europe.
Well, it sounds like my fathers likes to go after people.
No, they're just protecting their brand.
I get that, but
no
I'm just saying now
that.
This is 2 times I've heard their name in this conversation.
So Art went and secured the trademark over in Europe. So now he changed his company name here in the U.S., but overseas. Now, my fathers can't use that name overseas, so they had to change the name of that cigar. But yeah, they're protecting their brand, and I completely understand that.
And I get that too. But I'm just saying, but do you see what my point is? That it's going to cross over at some point. It intersects each other. I think there are people legitimately being scummy, and there are people who are not.
Yeah.
It's just honest stuff, and it's as easy as what Kerr did.
But when we came out with the Gringo, when I came out with the Gringo, I researched and looked to see if anybody did a barber pole with a Candela in Connecticut. And I couldn't find anything. Not to say someone hadn't. The closest I came to finding something was this company, they go by PG, and they're out of Honduras, which is kind of funny because you got Paul Gamarian here in the States.
I reviewed their cigars.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't know who Paul Gamarian was. I saw it on your show. You were talking about PG, and I think I chimed in. Do you mean this company? And you're like, no, and you said Paul. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, let me look up that. And because they were out.
Yeah, they contacted me years ago from Honduras to send me some cigars, and I think at one point they had a Candela Connecticut, but I think they did it in some weird camo thing.
Oh yeah, all their cigars were
it's all like that, right?
They were I think they were just stick on.
Yeah,
they weren't a barber pole.
It wasn't a barber
pole.
Design. So when I said, "Hey, this is the first Candela Connecticut barber pole," I felt pretty comfortable and confident enough to say this is the first one.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like it.
When I was developing the Big Tony, the dark on dark barber pole, I did research on it. And the closest I could come to was, I think Christian Arroyo came out with one, the Camacho.
Yeah, the triple Maduro.
But he did the 2 barber poles where he sold them in 2 packs.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is something I want to come out with. I can't say I'm the first one to do it, but, it's they're not a lot out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the other barber poles were already out there. Oscar Valdez already had his 2012 Candela, and so it's trying to make a good rendition of that, or a good
Oh,
representation.
right, but it's
of
also
that.
because the Candela, like that's like the love of a Candela, right? You're always wanting to try to improve and do something cool with a
And introduce
Candela.
other people to the
Yeah.
Candela market, which is has always been, like Kevin and I always talk about that. It's like, just want to introduce more people to this tobacco because it's fantastic, and
Right.
it's the different.
And I'm one of
way
the
that
people that sits on the fence where I'm kind of like,
I recently got you
You know?
a Nomad that was a Candela that you liked, and I think it was hard to come by as well.
Yeah.
Have you smoked it yet?
Yeah, I smoked the shit out of that thing.
I haven't smoked. I didn't know that was a Nomad.
It was
It was like the
great.
GB19 or
Yep,
something.
it was fantastic.
Because Jen, you messaged me about it, and then
Yeah.
and then I found out when Fred Rui was on the show. I think he mentioned it, and I'm like, oh my god, that's your cigar.
The only thing I can find with it now is a box of 20, and it's like for 200. So I can't find the 10 packs anymore.
I mean,
or
Yeah,
even
so-
singles.
I haven't smoked. I have one in my humidor. I haven't smoked it yet.
and I watched you on the show the other night, and they were talking about the factory smokes that were horrible, and you were like, the Candela factory smokes is fantastic, and I was like, I thought the factory smokes Candela is a damn good cigar.
It is a damn good cigar.
It is.
I will say that's one of the cigars I do like.
They knocked it out of the park with that CI exclusive.
Yeah, I was like, I remember you giving me. I was like, damn, this is a freaking really good Candela. It truly is. I mean, and I'm a can. I mean, I've had some
I have to
Candelas.
say all the factory smokes are pretty good.
Yeah, you just have to understand
Yeah.
what it is.
Right.
It's a $2.50 cigar,
Right.
so you have to go into understanding what you're smoking.
Exactly.
For-
You can't go in thinking this is a premium cigar. I mean, it's not the
No,
premium rolled whatever you want to define it as. But I've smoked. I've actually had a couple of the bundles here, and I liked them. I didn't think they were. I thought they were pretty good for an everyday cigar.
Yeah.
But I thought that Candela was an exceptional cigar, and was, for me, it was kind of a step above of what I would consider like an everyday bundle. I thought it was a really solid Candela.
Yeah. I think it was. And then going back to like the trademark thing. So I recently reached out to two different companies about some trademarks that were expiring. From books, movies, to where you could use that name. And then both companies bought the trademarks in the cigar world. So and I thought that was pretty. And then Abe yelled at me, and for reaching out to them. He's like, why didn't you?
because now you
You got to
put
wait
it
for
on
them
the
to
back.
expire. You got to wait for them to expire. then
Yeah.
get them.
So every year something expires, like either
Yeah.
the name of a movie, the name of a
Yeah.
book, a song.
All you got to do is look up the trademark, see if it's expired.
So it's like watching a bid on eBay. You're waiting for like that
Yeah.
clock
Yeah.
to go to 0, and then you.
But
can buy
Kevin
it.
can't help himself.
But yeah, so basically, I was told you should have you should have trademarked them yourself, and
Yeah.
sold, and because Abe holds did hold the trademark for the Triple Maduro. Abe from Smoke Inn actually created that, and then went to Aroa, Christian Aroa, and it's like, hey, I have this name for the cigar and this thought. So Aroa produced them, and then someone else reached out, and it was a CAO reached out and said, hey, that kind of infringes on our, like, the MX2 or whatever. And then Abe's like, yeah, if you want to battle Christian Aroa, be my guest, and called Aroa and like, hey, they're going to reach out to you.
Right.
And, if it was Abe, they would have fought him because it was early in his career and they would have won. But they weren't
no, they're not
fighting.
going to go after Christian Arroyo.
Yeah, they're not going to go after
No.
the Aroa family.
No, but that's what you do.
That wasn't
I mean,
happening.
I've gone on when I was checking out my trademark and stuff. I look up different names that are abandoned. You look at cigar companies and names that are abandoned. And as Kevin said, if you have an idea of anything else, movie, anything that's going to be catchy and that people will recognize, if it's abandoned, all you got to do is just submit your trademark and wait.
Yeah.
And then they have an opportunity to contest it. There's
Yeah.
a period. There's a contesting period. So our name, Stogie Road Cigars, is trademark, and I trademarked the Sweetgrass Gringo.
Yeah.
I've had couple of bad experiences with I've learned one thing when it comes to your blend. To own your blend costs a lot of money. It's difficult.
Oh yeah.
So if I say, hey, the Big Tony is this tobacco is the wrapper, the binder, the filler, and this percentage and that much, to actually own that is difficult. Plus, I mean, when you think about it, if I'm going to sue someone, do I want to have someone pick apart another cigar and test the percentages of those tobaccos?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's ridiculous. But I've had a couple situations where ideas and things that I want to come out with popped out somewhere else. So, to what you're saying, Kevin, with the trademark, I kind of keep things tight to the vest anymore with anything new or anything like that, because, when you're like, hey, I'm working on this blend. This looks great. I think this is going to go well. And, man, this is going to be fantastic. And you're like, hey, how the hell did they come out with that cigar? It was nowhere on the radar. No,
now in the cigar world,
fucking scumbags. That's what it is.
In the cigar world, these cigar manufacturers, I don't know if they get alerts from the trademark office or if they're looking every single day.
Oh,
but they're
looking.
because
bro.
I've had a couple manufacturers reach out to me and be like, hey, do you know so and so? You know anything about this cigar with this name? And I'm like, nope. They look, and like I said, there was one, and I don't want to talk about it here, but yeah, it was hit pretty close to home on the name. So, but yeah, we can talk about that after the show.
But they also look for things too. I think what they're looking for also are like, I think this was a thing before the FDA. Is a lot of people were looking because they were looking for abandoned names that have been around to predicate that date. To say, hey, I'm making Kevin Shahan cigars. The Shahan cigars were back from 1910.
Right.
Yeah.
That's before 2007. So I think they was trying to find every loophole they could.
Yeah.
To avoid getting freaking slaughtered by the government. But at the end of the day, you'll find very good, reputable, honest people in the industry, and you're going to find those people that are just freaking scumbags. And, navigating through those waters are pretty tough sometimes, man, because, I always said the word Hermano always comes with a big old knife. It's etched. The word Hermano is etched on the handle of the knife that's hanging out of your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All industries are like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you work or what you're in.
Everything's highly competitive. It's just you got to watch who you freaking deal with, man.
That's it. So I think on that note, we'll shrink this one up.
I think it's 2 hours. 2 hours.
Holy shit.
I know.
It's our shortest long episode.
It is. It's
Exactly.
the shortest long episode. What's really good news is I've been tracking the views, or not the views, the downloads on our podcast. We've been getting quite a few podcast downloads.
Nice.
Have we? All right on.
Yeah. So we covered coffee. We covered Jess was not angry. She was just very tired and running to the bathroom to check her messages, which is cool. We covered that aliens may exist. They may not exist. We covered that the cigars and the different...
And when you stepped out, we talked about walking certain paths, and that's when I talked about...
Yeah.
Walking certain paths. We talked about...
Just talked about why when you have to go through certain...
Divine intervention.
Things.
Yeah.
I think the show is divine intervention. I think the show is the byproduct of divine intervention.
Yeah.
It's something.
It's definitely something. So on that note, I'm Kevin.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Kerr.
I'm Jen.
And remember,
bullies make good friends.
That was perfect.
That was perfect.